Welcome back to the Metaphysics Podcast. I'm Dennis Goddard, and this is Louise Hicks.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're diving deep into a topic that might make some of you a little uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
The idea that we are all being manipulated by unseen forces.
It's a big one.
Yeah, stick with us, though, because it gets really interesting.
Oh, it really does.
You know, we often talk about taking control of our lives.
Yeah.
Making those conscious choices.
Right.
But what if there are things operating behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Subtly influencing us, our decisions, our emotions, even our reality.
Absolutely.
That's what we're exploring today. We're going to look at it from a bunch of different angles.
A lot of angles.
We'll talk about ancient wisdom, the power of energy, and even how modern society might be playing a role.
Big time.
By the end of this, you might just start seeing the world in a whole new light.
You really might.
If you're finding this intriguing so far, make sure to hit that like button.
Yes.
It really helps the algorithm and lets us know you're enjoying the conversation.
And subscribe so you don't miss any of our future deep dives.
Okay, so let's kick things off with some ancient wisdom. Louise, you're the expert here. Tell us about what the yogis of old had to say about unseen forces and how they impact us.
Well, thousands of years ago, long before modern psychology or even science as we know it, yogis in India were mapping out a subtle energy system within the human body.
Interesting.
They called these channels nadis, and they believed that these nadis carried a vital life force energy known as prana. Prana. Now, prana is everywhere. It's in the air. We breathe the food, we eat, even the sunlight, and it flows through these nadis, nourishing every cell in our bodies.
So it's like our own personal energy grid.
Exactly. And just like an electrical grid, this system can have blockages or disruptions.
Yeah, I see.
The yogis believed that these energetic blocks could be caused by a whole range of things.
Okay.
Stress, trauma, negative thoughts, even just holding on to old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve us.
So you're saying that these unseen forces, these negative influences, could actually be blocks within our own energy system. That's a fascinating way to look at it.
It is.
But what happens when these blocks build up?
Well, the yogis believed that blocked energy could manifest in all sorts of ways. Physically, emotionally, even mentally.
Okay.
It could show up as chronic pain, anxiety, depression, or even repeating patterns of self-sabotage.
Right.
It's like having a kink in a hose, the water can't flow freely, and that creates pressure and eventually problems.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we've got these energy blocks that can cause all kinds of issues. What do the yogis suggest we do about it? Do they have any solutions?
They did. They developed a whole system of practices designed to clear these blockages and get the energy flowing smoothly. Again, they called this process Kriya, which essentially means movement or flow. And one of the most powerful tools they used to achieve this was breathwork.
Breathwork. Wait, you're telling me that just changing the way we breathe can shift our energy and clear these blocks?
Absolutely. And you know what's really cool? Modern science is actually starting to back this up. Studies have shown that specific breathing patterns can have a profound impact on our nervous system, our hormone levels, and even our brain activity. And guess what? One of the most effective breathing patterns is...
I'm on the edge of my seat here. Tell me.
A simple 6-second inhale followed by a 6-second exhale.
Wow, that's it. 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out.
That's it.
I can do that. But how does something so simple create such a powerful shift?
Well, when we breathe in this way, it sends a signal to our nervous system that we're safe and relaxed. This helps to calm down the fight or flight response, which is often triggered by stress and anxiety, and allows our body to move into a state of rest and repair. And when we're in this relaxed state, energy can flow more freely, allowing those blockages to start dissolving.
So by simply changing our breathing, we can start to address those unseen forces that might be holding us back. That's incredibly empowering.
It really is, and it's just one example of the many tools and techniques that the ancient yogis developed to work with energy and create positive change in their lives.
This is fascinating stuff, folks, and we're just scratching the surface here now. I'm curious, Louise, if this knowledge is so powerful, why isn't it more mainstream? Why aren't we learning about Nadis and Prana in school?
That's a great question, Dennis, and it leads us into some even deeper territory.
Oh, I like where this is going. Well, before we get into that, though, I want to remind everyone to drop a comment below and let us know what's resonating with you so far. Are you surprised by this connection between breathwork and unseen forces? Have you ever experienced the power of breathwork in your own life? Share your thoughts. We love hearing from you.
And if you're enjoying this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future episodes. We've got some mind-blowing topics lined up.
Okay, now back to that question of why this ancient wisdom isn't more widely known. What are your thoughts on that, Louise? There's something more going on here.
Well, some people believe that this kind of knowledge has been deliberately suppressed because it empowers individuals. Think about it. If we all learn to tap into our own energy, clear our blocks, and become the masters of our own reality, who benefits?
Whoa, you're saying that there might be forces out there that want to keep us disempowered?
It's a bold claim, I know, but let's explore it a bit further. If we look at our modern society, we're constantly bombarded with messages that tell us we need to buy certain products, achieve certain goals, and fit into certain molds in order to be happy and successful. And when we're focused on chasing those external things, we're less likely to turn inwards and explore our own inner power.
Okay, I'm starting to see where you're going with this. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll delve deeper into this idea of modern society and how it might be playing a role in perpetuating these unseen forces. Stay with us.
Welcome back, everyone. Before the break, we were talking about how elements of our modern society might be keeping us disconnected from our true power.
Yeah, it's like we're constantly surrounded by these subtle messages and influences that are nudging us away from our inner wisdom and intuition.
Exactly. Think about the media we consume, the advertising we're exposed to, even the education system.
It's true.
They often prioritize conformity and consumerism over things like critical thinking and self-awareness.
Yeah, we're always being told what to buy, what to think, how to look, how to behave. It's easy to get caught up in all of that and lose sight of what truly matters.
And when we lose touch with that inner compass, we become much more susceptible to manipulation.
Right.
Whether it's from external sources like advertising or even from our own negative thoughts and those limiting beliefs.
So it's like these unseen forces, they can be both internal and external, working together to keep us feeling small and disempowered.
Yeah, that's a really insightful way to put it. It's not about blaming anyone. It's about recognizing those patterns and becoming more aware of the ways we might be giving our power away.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem. Let's dive into some solutions. If we're caught in this web of unseen forces, how do we break free? What are some practical things we can do to reclaim our energy and start making more conscious choices?
One powerful technique that I mentioned earlier is called identity shifting.
You mentioned that right before the break. Can you remind us what that is and how it works?
Absolutely. Identity shifting is about consciously choosing who you want to become and embodying that new energy.
All right.
Instead of trying to change your old self, you step into a whole new identity altogether. It's like stepping into a new role in a play.
So instead of trying to fix or improve the old me, I just create a whole new me that embodies all the qualities I want to have.
Right.
It's a really interesting concept.
It can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, someone who has always struggled with low self-esteem.
Okay.
Instead of trying to fight against that old pattern, they could choose to embody the energy of someone who is confident and self-assured. They could start by visualizing themselves as this confident person, feeling those emotions that come with it, even practicing acting in ways that align with this new identity.
So they're not just trying to change their thoughts and beliefs, they're actually changing their energy.
Exactly. And over time, this new energy starts to become their dominant reality.
Yeah.
The old patterns start to fade away because they're no longer being fed with attention and energy.
It's like they're literally becoming a new person. I love that. It's so empowering. Now, I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually do it? Where do I even start?
That's a great question.
What advice would you give to someone who's ready to try identity shifting?
The first step is to get really clear on who you want to become. What qualities do you want to embody? What kind of person do you want to be? Once you have that vision in mind, you can start to cultivate those qualities within yourself.
Yeah.
You can use visualization affirmations, even role-playing, to step into this new identity. And remember, it's a process. Be patient with yourself and have fun with it.
That's fantastic advice. And I think it's important to emphasize that this isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about tapping into the potential that already exists within you and bringing it to the surface.
Absolutely. We all have incredible potential within us. Sometimes we just need to give ourselves permission to let it shine.
I love that.
Okay.
Okay, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the ancient wisdom of the yogis, the power of breath work and identity shifting, and the importance of awareness and discernment. What does this all mean for our listeners? What's the takeaway message here?
The takeaway is that you have more power than you realize. You are not a victim of circumstance. You have the ability to choose your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. And when you align with your true power, you can create a life that is beyond your wildest dreams.
Powerful words, Louise. So what are your final thoughts for our listeners today? What would you like to leave them with?
I would encourage everyone listening to start paying attention to those subtle, unseen forces in their lives. Notice how they make you feel. Ask yourself, are they empowering you or are they disempowering you? And if they're not serving you, don't be afraid to make a change. Remember, you have the power to create your own reality.
And on that note, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this idea of unseen forces? Have you experienced this in your own life? Drop a comment below and share your insights. And if you found this deep dive helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Metaphysics podcast for more mind-expanding conversations. Until next time, keep exploring the unseen forces within and around you. And remember, the power to create your reality lies within you. See you next time. Welcome back to the Metaphysics podcast. We're the final part of our deep dive into unseen forces, and I'm already feeling empowered just from having this conversation. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing how just being aware of these subtle influences can really help us reclaim our power.
So we've talked about the ancient wisdom of the yogis, we've talked about energy blocks and even identity shifting. But let's get real here for a minute. What about those times when it feels like we're being intentionally manipulated? Like someone's trying to pull our strings. Not everyone out there has our best interests at heart.
That's true, and it's important to remember that not all unseen forces are unintentional or benign. There are definitely people and systems out there that might be trying to influence us for their own gain, whether it's for profit, power, or control.
So how do we protect ourselves from that? How can we tell if someone's genuinely trying to help us or if they're trying to take advantage? It feels like a minefield sometimes.
It can be tricky for sure, but just like we talked about with those internal energy blocks, awareness is key. Pay attention to how people make you feel. Do they respect your boundaries? Do they listen to you? Do they make you feel safe and supported?
And if the answer is no, if someone's making you feel uncomfortable or pressured, what do you do?
Trust your gut. Our intuition is so powerful for discerning these things. If something feels off, it probably is. It's okay to set boundaries and say no to things that don't align with your values.
I think that's so important. We're often taught to be polite and accommodating, but sometimes protecting our energy means saying no and walking away from those situations that don't feel right.
Exactly. Remember, you have the right to protect your energy. It's precious. And the more you practice discernment, the easier it becomes to spot those who might be trying to manipulate or take advantage.
Discernment's like a muscle. The more we use it, the stronger it gets. So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about ancient wisdom, the power of breathwork and identity, shifting the importance of awareness and discernment. What does this all mean for our listeners? What's the takeaway message here?
The takeaway is that you have more power than you realize. You are not a victim of circumstance. You have the ability to choose your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions. And when you start to align with your true power, you can create a life that is beyond your wildest dreams.
Powerful words. So what are your final thoughts for our listeners today? What would you like to leave them with?
I would encourage everyone listening to start paying attention to those unseen forces in their lives. Notice how they make you feel. Ask yourself, are they empowering you or are they disempowering you? And if they're not serving you, don't be afraid to make a change. Remember, you have the power to create your own reality.
That's so important. And on that note, we'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this idea of unseen forces? Have you experienced this in your own life? Drop a comment below and share your insights. And if you found this deep dive helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Metaphysics podcast for more mind-expanding conversations. Until next time, keep exploring the unseen forces within and around you, and remember the power to create your reality lies within you.
See you next time.